morning, everyone. This is Mrs. Rosen. I'm one of the English 11 teachers. I was just going to go over the parts of the Regents exam for you. For those of you who are trying to decide if you're going to take it in June, you have to let us know if you're going to take it the week of May 10th. So that's next week. So before you have to make that decision, I wanted to just go over the exam so you knew what to expect and could accurately make that decision with your parents or whoever is going to help you make that decision. So this is an actual copy from the Regents website. This was the exam given January 21st, 2020, which was the last time this exam was given. Part 1 is reading comprehension. There are 3 reading comprehension passages. So you would read each of those and then answer multiple choice questions, choosing the response that is best. I'm not going to go over too much over strategy because that would be wasting the time of you who are not going to do this. So maybe that'll be for another time. So reading comprehension A is always a piece of fiction. Generally it's about 2 pages long, just like you see here, and then there's 10 questions to follow. Reading comprehension B is always a poem. In this case, it starts on page 6. This one is pretty lengthy. Sometimes they're not. And there's always 4 questions to go with the poem. And then finally, reading comprehension C is generally 1.5 to 2 pages of nonfiction, so true story. This one's almost 2.5 pages, and that has about generally 9 questions that go with it. Part 2 is your argument essay. Your argument essay is worth 24 points as well, so you have 24 points for the comprehension, 24 points for the argument, and you read 4 texts, and you will annotate for to answer the prompt. In this case, it is, does the internet have a negative impact on your thinking process? After reading the 4 texts, you will use evidence from at least 3 of the texts to write a well-developed argument regarding whether or not, whatever the topic is, in this case, the internet has a negative impact on our thinking process. You'll establish a claim, distinguish your claim from alternate or opposing claims, and use specific, relevant, and sufficient evidence from at least 3 of the texts to develop your argument. So, of course, you need your claim or your thesis. You need at least 1 counterclaim somewhere in your paper with rebuttal and evidence from at least 3 of the texts. And that's what these bullet points basically say. So you see here's text 1, text 2, text 3, text 4. So already, by this point, you will have read 7 pieces of writing. So it's a lot. I always say it's a marathon, not a sprint. By the time you get to part 3, you'll have read 7 pieces of writing, so probably like 10 pages you'll have read. And then you get to part 3 and you're whooped. But you still have part 3, which is your text analysis response, and that is to read a piece of, it's generally fiction. Sometimes I've seen a speech once or twice, but generally it's fiction. And you have to write a text-based response of 2 to 3 paragraphs to identify a central idea in the text and analyze how the author's use of one writing strategy develops the central idea. And use strong and thorough evidence from the text to support your analysis. So probably in that first paragraph, you identify your central idea as your thesis. That'll work as your intro. Your big body paragraph, generally, you'll restate your central idea and discuss what central idea you'll be analyzing, and you have to develop that through a writing strategy. So some examples of those are characterization, conflict, simile, irony, metaphor, point of view, setting, structure. And your evidence would connect either to that central idea or your literary element, or in the best case scenario, both. So you'll find like a metaphor that develops your central idea effectively, and then you'll find another example of a metaphor. So for those of you in 10th grade who did I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud, a lot of you came up with your central idea that one can find peace in nature, or something along those lines. And then you identified personification of the daffodils dancing in the wind and how that made the speaker find comfort and peace in nature. I know, very exciting. So again, this is just a short reading, about 2 pages, and then you would write your response. You'll be given a answer booklet. That's where your writing goes in. So you have that multiple choice on like a Scantron type sheet, and then you get a booklet for your written responses. So the breakdown is multiple choice, 24 points. Argument essay, about 4 to 6 paragraphs, that would be 24 points. And then the final part 3 is 8 points. And if you do the math, that equals 56 points, which is kind of confusing. So after you get your raw score out of 56 points, at some point your teachers are sent a conversion chart. So I'll just pull this one up for the same Regents. So you get your raw score out of 56 points, and let's say I did great on my essays, but kind of bombed the multiple choice, and I only got 44 out of those 56 points, then my score would be an 89. The conversion chart varies a little bit from year to year, but however, this will give you an idea. So anyone who scored in this case over 31 would be the 65 and above, which is the passing for your Regents diploma. All right, if you have any questions, please reach out to your teacher so that they can better help you make a decision if you need help making that decision, but really it's up to you and your guardians to decide for yourself if you would like to take this exam in June. Have a great day, everyone.